What's good, folks, family, friends, loved ones, enemies, frenemies, wizards, witches, muggles, mudbloods, people of Middle Earth, to another episode of Disguise Coverage, the only podcast that gives you an equal amount of blueberries in each muffin and is presented by the best pizza in Buffalo, New York, and that is One Pie Pizza. You can find the online menu in the episode show notes, whether here on YouTube or whichever podcasting app or platform you're listening to this show on. I'm your host, Anthony. Find me on Twitter at pro__ant. That's pro 2 ANT. In this episode of Disguise Coverage, continuing, or maybe even not necessarily continuing, but putting a bow potentially on the 2024 Buffalo Bills offensive conversation, outlook, prediction, assumption conversation that we've been having on the show for really the past month or so. I've had several guests, had JP Acosta on from SB Nation, had Mina Kimes on, all with the idea of kind of forecasting what to expect from Joe Brady and the Bills offense in 2024 and why. And again, a lot of that conversation comes back to the change in body types and skill sets and frames and at the pass catching position, specifically the wide receiver position, and how that ties into league trends offensively and defensively, how all of that particularly ties into the Buffalo Bills and what that means for what they're going to be in 2024, all within the idea and the landscape of, Joe Brady and what type of offensive mind he is, the tree he comes from, so on and so forth. And throughout the entirety of those episodes, really for the past month or so, I've talked about several offenses consistently, and I've talked about several offensive schematic components or pieces from an alignment perspective, from a personnel perspective, from a mismatch creation perspective. I used a lot of the same verbiage, a lot of the same terminology, all with the idea of drilling home the possibility of the Bills going to lower formational widths in 2024, leaning into those bigger body types and frames that they have at the wide receiver position, pairing that with the athleticism and size they have at the tight end position, and kind of having this whole grouping / amalgamation of size, physicality, and athleticism, and pairing that with condensed formations in either 12 or 11 personnel and using that to simultaneously in 12 or 11 be able to live in running formations and running alignments and run the ball out of those condensed formations. And then in an instant, be able to pop back out into spread or shift or motion out and run true spread because of what you have in Kincaid and Knox, but also with your wide receivers. And the ability, again, to a phrasing that I'm going to continue to say throughout this offseason, probably in the season as well, all with the idea of being able to access more of the menu without having to turn the page. And again, we've talked about that aspect conceptually with several tremendous guests. We've really drilled it home, but I thought tonight it would be nice to dive into game film of the teams that I've referenced on several of these episodes and really put things together visually for you folks. And especially on a week where, due to some scheduling conflicts, there's no Cover One film room tomorrow night with myself and Eric Turner. So I had this episode planned already, and then with no film room this week, I was like, oh, it's perfect. And still give the people on the channel some film. We'll just do it here in Disguise Coverage. So I'm very excited for this episode. I think it kind of puts everything together and puts a nice, neat little bow onto this conversation. And again, ties everything visually instead of just speaking about it in terminology and it just kind of going over. I think, again, this really drills it home. If you are one of the audio only listeners, if you listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whatever have you, that's cool too. If you don't want to come to YouTube and see the visual pieces, very fair. I will break everything down descriptively, verbally, so that you can still kind of tie it in, even though you might not potentially be watching it. So for the people who listen on their drives to work or from work, I'll still be able to narrate everything so you can kind of get an idea of what is going on. As always, if you're coming in here live or post live here on YouTube, please, and thank you. If you have not already, drop a like on this video. Likes are the lifeblood of these streams, and they go a sincerely long way towards helping myself and the entire team to track and trend in front of more eyes and ears. I appreciate you, Taylor. Taylor's saying, I love you, Anthony, and my best Cole Beasley voice. I appreciate that. K.O. Mori coming in and saying, hi, Ant. What's offensive was Belgium's performance against Slovakia and having to stay up late for it in Japan. Yeah, you had the major time difference over there in Japan. I don't want to get too soccer conscious or focused, even though I am wearing my Italy Euro 2020 champions jersey, even though it technically happened in 2021. Belgium continues to just be major tournament bobblers. Like after how they were ousted in the World Cup most recently, and then just this opening performance against Slovakia. There's still time to turn it around, but man, like they're loaded. They're such a good team, and they just cannot put it together. But then also, I mean, Portugal was what, 22 minutes away from it today, from losing 1-0, and both of their goals, not to take anything away from Portugal, but the first one was an own goal just off of some chaos around the goal line, and Czechia just not clearing the ball and doing what they needed to. And then even the second one, ball kind of nutmegs the defender and perfectly lies in, and then dude finishes it. Like, it was two ugly, I don't want to say lucky, but ugly goals for Portugal. They could have been sitting in a similar spot after really underperforming in that game. But yeah, Belgium continues to disappoint. Charles coming in saying, my question with Brady in more condensed formations is how it affects Josh's ability to read coverage. Always thought he was better identifying defense with more spread. I love that comment and that thought there, Charles, because that is something I was going to talk about later, but I guess I'll just address it now. Like, one of the potential disadvantages with going with condensed formations is, to Charles's point here, less of an ability to identify coverage or identify what the defense is doing. When you spread a defense out, you force them to kind of have to declare what they're doing in some ways pre-snap, in terms of how they align and how they choose to match the guys that you put into space pre-snap. So you can look at the safeties, you can look at the apex or the nickel defender and kind of piece things together. That doesn't mean defenses still can't change on the snap and spin a safety down or drop back or, disguise coverage and everything that they do, but it's harder to discern what a defense is doing pre-snap when you go with condensed formations versus spread. So that is a good point. Appreciate Laura coming in saying, I love film breakdowns. Yeah, appreciate you, Laura. You're always there in the film room, so I appreciate you being here tonight. Justin says Josh doesn't read defenses, he reacts to them. And you know what? It's funny too, tying into this comment from Justin and Charles's point. The more you go into condensed formations, it does force the quarterback to be somewhat more on time with his footwork, with his reads, with his throw. It does force you to be efficient in your reads and in your progressions and in your decision making. Now, within that, schematically, if you're Joe Brady, you can build things so that the read and the progression is easier for a quarterback to get to. Now, it's still on the quarterback to read everything and pull the trigger and make the decision. But schematically, there are ways that you can kind of massage the situation and kind of push Allen in a direction where it makes it easier for him to identify what's going on. And you can still do some other things too to help discern what the defense is doing. But that's a good point overall from Charles and even from Justin to a degree here as well, in terms of condensed formations, what they offer, what they don't. And I guess within that, I'm just going to lean into, I've spoken about this a bunch in episodes, but I just want to say it again, just for those who haven't seen previous episodes, just kind of being able to put things into perspective and everything. Offensive lineman width, formational width, but when you reduce that, tells of the run and pass are less for a defense. So there's less like, okay, well, the more spread that you get, there's only certain things you can get to, especially from a run perspective. The more bodies you have around the line of scrimmage, the more you can get to in the run game. There's more of the menu you're able to access. And then when you combine that with certain personnel groupings and, you've got you've got several or multiple athletic tight ends in a 12 personnel grouping, or you're out there in 11, which has 3 wide receivers, but all 3 of your receivers are capable blockers in addition to being capable pass catchers and route runners. That plus the condensed formation and all the bodies starts to add up for a defense of, okay, what's their tell for a run? What's their tell for a pass? Okay, now if the offense starts to add in motion or any little wrinkles or shifts, it all becomes a lot for a defense to process. So when you go to these condensed formations, you have the ability to attack space outside, but it really comes down to just limiting tells for a defense. And then when you mix that with certain personnel packages and groupings, provided you have those body types, skill sets, and frames on your roster, you really can put a defense into a bind in terms of the questions that you're forcing them to have to ask pre-snap and whether or not they have a good answer for it. Condensed formations can also help beat man coverage by having pass catchers run crossers or switch releases versus defenders that may be bunched up or near the line of scrimmage. Close proximity of pass catchers can also help yield open targets quicker. Again, them being closer to the ball is what I mean. And, so you can play tight and play power football, or you can play tight and throw the ball. And again, if you have big bodied athletic pass catchers who can also function as blockers, then you can ask a lot of questions to the defense pre-snap that they have to provide answers for post-snap, and not every defense will have an answer to every question. And again, condensed formations, that allows for grass outside, usually outside the hashes or outside the numbers, to be attacked more. It allows teams to get more into the run game by having more bodies attached or near the line of scrimmage to add gaps. And again, teams with bigger bodied wide receivers have the added threat of blocking on the perimeter, or you can get fancy schematically and have them get involved in the box, or, versus second level defenders or a safety or an edge, wash an edge down and, pin someone down, or again, climb to the second level, fit on a linebacker, fit on that nickel corner. A lot of mismatch potential creation in addition to the schematic advantage that some of those pieces can create for you as well. So again, just wanted to get that out of the way. And then let's dive into the facts. I see some more comments. Let's dive into the film. I'm going to get to every comment I can in this episode. I'm going to be doing the film, and I don't have the fancy clicker that Eric has when we do the film room. So I'm using my trackpad, which it works for me in the past. But any and every comment, anything that you folks have, throw it up into the chat. I will get to as many things as humanly possible. Steve says, football is a balance between read and react. Glad Josh can do both. Defenses disguise coverage very well. We are lucky to have him. I would like to see, I've been, I think, somewhat critical, or more than most, of Allen, especially going back to last year. I do think he needs to be better in his processing and his decision making. He's still an absolutely tremendous football player. Like, this doesn't knock that, but there are times where his decision making, his reading, his processing hasn't necessarily been there. So I'm not going to sit there and say that he can't read a defense, right? And he can't play on time or can't play in rhythm, but I think he's been more of the chaos manipulator or chaos controller, more so than he's been an on time in rhythm quarterback. And that's fine, especially considering the nature of today's NFL and how much off script plays and chaos in general kind of play into it. You look at the top quarterbacks in the league and what they do and how they're able to navigate that chaos after they potentially create it. But I do think Allen needs to be better from the shoulders up, or from the neck up. He has to be better mentally as a QB this year. So how much of that was due to Dorsey last year, or Allen, or Brady, and how it all connects, we'll really see this year, to see how different the offense is schematically, how much better Allen functions in it or doesn't function in it. So it'll be interesting to see, but he's obviously a tremendous player. Joe says, hi, Ant. Sorry I'm late. I was baking a souffle. Parentheses, I don't know how to bake. I don't know if I believe this comment or not. Were you really baking a souffle? I have a lot of comments. Now I kind of just want to stop the show and see if you're really baking a souffle. This is going to distract me and it's going to live in my head this entire episode. But if you are making a souffle, I hope it's coming out good. Taylor says, what if David Edwards isn't good? If David Edwards isn't good, you better hope that Cedric Van Pran Granger is. And then you can move Connor McGovern back to left guard, and you can put VPG at center, and then hopefully everything works out. I think Edwards is going to be fine, though. He's a Cromer disciple. He's got familiarity within this offense. I know he was only, quote unquote, only the sixth offensive lineman last year, but I think he does present a relatively high floor. And again, the familiarity with Cromer and his techniques and his schemes and his terminology and just working in that system, I think provides him a leg up in a lot of ways and allows his floor to be raised and his ceiling to be raised as well. So that way his performance can be maximized. So I don't really think there's a situation where David Edwards isn't necessarily good. The situation that I think could potentially happen is VPG outperforms at center relative to Edwards at left guard. And then it makes you want to move McGovern back to left guard to kind of just get your best starting five out there. But if he isn't good, you have to hope someone else is good to play left guard, or you have to hope someone else is good at center to move McGovern back to left guard. And then you can just get the best five out there some way, shape, or form. Justin says, I'm a firm believer in pulling receivers through motion rather than pulling guards to tip where the run goes, but that's just me. That's fair. Ironically, what's funny is some of the clips I'm going to show you tonight is how you can use those pulling guards to manipulate a defense, because it is a run tell, and you can use that to manipulate second level defenders and then pass instead. Everything is all about manipulation, how you dress things up. You can put receivers in jet motion or orbit motion or fast or exit motion. You can pull guards. You can do whatever you want. You can pull tight ends, fullbacks, whatever you want, shift, anything. It all depends on how you dress it up and how you tie it into what your tendencies are. Can you make everything look like everything else? Can you make your passes? Can you make your play action passes look just like your runs? Can you build in little wrinkles to make your runs look like your passes and vice versa and really throw off a defense? That's some of what we're going to get into tonight as well. And again, you can lean into it one direction and, hey, I'd rather pull my receivers through motion rather than pulling guards to tip where the run goes. But that's the exact thing that offenses are using to manipulate defense as well. You're sitting there, Justin, saying, in theory, if you pull a guard, that tips where the run goes, which is fine. So now pull that guard and go play action and throw to a leaking tight end out of the backfield, or just manipulate defenses based off of their rules and their tendencies. A little bit there. Laura's also surprised that Joe is making a souffle. I also want to know if Joe Googled how to spell souffle. I don't want to be rude, but I don't know if you knew how to spell that right off rip. But, if you did, bravo to you. Teddy says, hi, hope everyone here is having a great day. Hope you're having a great day too, Teddy. If you live in Buffalo or the Western New York area, it was a beautiful day today. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful week. Yeah, good weather, good times out here. Nikki says, David Edwards won a Super Bowl at left guard under Cromer. If he has faith in him, we should as well. That is a very fair point. I just think, that move in general of taking McGovern, who played well at left guard last year, and by extension, Deion Dawkins had a very good year at left tackle. And I think some of that is due to having a good partner at left guard in Connor McGovern. I don't think they make that move and ship off Mitch Morse and ship off Ryan Bates if they're not confident in David Edwards being able to get the job done at left guard, and by extension, McGovern being able to get the job at center. That's fair. Joe says, I 100% did. I don't know. Who knows how to spell souffle? But that's fair. Maybe you bake a lot. I don't know. Maybe you're just out there reading dictionaries. Just the tip of canoe says quiche. Yep, quiche related to souffles. That's fair, Joe. If you if you believe that you could spell souffle, then you know what? I believe you too. But just know that in the back of my mind, I don't think you knew how to spell it, and I think you Googled it. And Joe says, no, I was playing a fast one. I'm actually about to pack, but that didn't sound as cool. Oh, so one, you're not actually baking a souffle, so you're a liar. Two, now you want me to believe that you know how to spell souffle, even though you just lied to me. So how I have to take everything you say at face value now. You're telling me you already knew how to spell souffle, but you're also telling me you just lied to everyone here in the chat that you made a souffle. So now I just don't know. I don't even know who you are anymore. Man, this is disappointing. Yeah. Ryan says it. Ryan called it. Damn it, Joe. Just disappointing. Kay Mori says, hey, Joe could be a regular watcher of cooking shows. He absolutely could. Yeah. You never know. This has gone off the rails, but I appreciate everyone. All right, let's dive into the film. For some of what the Buffalo Bills can borrow from NFL offenses in 2024. I like this from Laura. This says Souffle Gate. Yeah, this is the Watergate of our time. Joe lying about making souffles. And again, if you lied about making a souffle, Joe, who's to say you're not lying about knowing how to spell the word souffle? Or anything for that matter. I don't know if I can trust anything you ever say again. Man, it's just, oof. Oh, sorry. One more temperature thing. I'm into temperature stuff. Just the Tippy Canoe says it was 97 degrees here in Indiana yesterday. Doesn't help that our FedEx trucks don't have AC. I was melting. I drive around with both doors open. God bless you. That's brutal. And once it hits 80, I'm severely hot. So anything in the 90s, if I don't have AC, I'll legit melt. I went to Disney World one time in August. Oof. Oh, man. Oh, okay. So Joe says, no, I meant 100%. I did Google it, but I did guess right. I don't believe that you guessed right. Now I don't even know if you did Google it. I just don't trust anything you say, but good luck packing. And I think now for your penance, you should have to make an actual souffle. And I think you should do it live for one of your shows. I'm just saying. And I think that would be a really cool episode. You have to make a live souffle on Under Review, and then we can talk football while it happens, but you have to make a live souffle on the show. And I think they take a while, so the show might be a 2 or 3 hour episode. So I'm just saying, I think that would be a cool way to repay everyone for being a liar, but to each their own. Okay. Now let's get, oh yeah, Teddy called and said, I think he was admitting to Googling it. It's tough, man. When I'm reading everything, and everything's coming through fast and furious here in the chat, it can be tough to decipher. I'm trying to, keep the energy going and vibe with everyone and then still do this. Okay. This is good from Charles. He says, McVay rhymes with souffle. Just saying, this is a good one from Cam Moore to Schrodinger souffle. I like that. Well done. Well done. All right. All right. We've gone off the rails, which is probably my fault. Let's get to it. NFL offenses that the Buffalo Bills can borrow from in 2024. We're going to start with, it really doesn't matter who we start with, but we're going to start with the Los Angeles Rams just because that's the order I have it in my notes. And I think that's where I want to start. So let's pull this up here. Pull up the film. Oh, good one from Joe. He says, just guys, souffles. Yeah, let's just crossover episodes, right? Crossover episodes are the best. Just expand the brand exposure. We could do cover one playback with souffles. I just think there's a lot of potential that's working here. Let me change the brand graphic on the top. Okay, cool. Here we go. I took a sip of water. Let's start to move through. So this first play here that I want to show is we're going to go into some Rams versus Colts tape in this game. I watched a bunch of different games of the teams that we're going to be going into tonight. So what you're going to see in these clips isn't something that just happened against one team or isn't something that just happened in terms of a one-off. These are pieces of their game that are symptomatic of who they are schematically, how they use their player groupings and their personnel. And I also want to say this too. The reason I picked the teams that we're going to go into tonight is it started with their condensed formation usage, but also because of their overall schemes and personnel. So we're going to dive into 3 teams tonight. The 3 teams that we're going to be diving into are all in the bottom 5 in terms of lowest formational width in 2023. 2 of the other 5 that we're not diving into tonight are the San Francisco 49ers and the Miami Dolphins. The reason we're not doing the Dolphins and the Niners is because the San Francisco 49ers have Kyle Juszczyk and the Miami Dolphins have Alec Ingold. Both of those teams lean heavy into 21 and 22 personnel because of the prevalence of Juszczyk for the Niners and Ingold for Miami. That's a huge difference to me versus almost any team in the NFL. Having a fullback in general that plays meaningful snaps is rare in today's NFL. Having one that can function in the run and pass like Juszczyk and Alec Ingold is even more rare. And granted, the teams that I'm going to be showing in this episode too have some pretty tremendous players that it's not like you can just clone and put them on any team, or that the Bills have clones of these players. But I wanted to focus more on the schematic pieces that tie into body types and skill frames more than I did wanting to emphasize kind of the unicorn nature of certain individuals and certain players. Like, and just for the Niners in general, the Niners are tremendous schematically. Like, Kyle Shanahan is one of the best play designers and play callers in football, but they also have several unicorns, Kittle and Debo and Ayuk and McCaffrey and Juszczyk. Like, that's ridiculous complementary in terms of skill set pieces with the run and the pass. And then even Miami, McDaniel's a tremendous play caller and designer, but the speed that they have and just everywhere, running back, wide receiver, and then having Ingold on top of it. So not to say they're not good schematically, not that the Bills couldn't pull from those teams, but some of those pieces, I think, kind of make them more outliers than others. So we're going to start with the Los Angeles Rams. And we're going to show this first play. Before I show this play against the Colts, I want to show this first play here against the Seahawks. So if you notice, actually, I'm just going to go back and forth between each. Look at the exact formation. These are 2 different games. This game happened against Seattle in week 2 for the Rams, very, very, very early on in the year. The game against Indianapolis was more middle of the season, like week 7, week 8. So notice, I'm just going to go back and forth. These are 2 separate games, obviously. Notice almost the exact same formation. You've got trips to this side, 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers, and then you've got your nub tight end right here. Oh, I don't like that. Where's my squiggle? There it is. And then you've got the nub tight end right here going into the boundary. Okay, let's go back to that Rams game. What do we got? Trips to this side, 3 wide receivers, 11 personnel, and then a nub tight end into the boundary. Fun. So watch what the Rams do here earlier in this season. This is something they did a bunch throughout the year, motioning their wide receivers. They use a bunch of motion. We know Sean McVay, the window dressing, doesn't run a ton of crazy concepts, but the way he dresses the concepts up, the way he disguises them, and then how he utilizes them and when he utilizes them. Just one of the best offensive minds in football. So we're just going to watch this play from earlier in the year against the Rams. Watch what you get. Puka comes in motion. Skirt. Fits up on the safety. Really good block from Puka. Okay. Forget about how much the run goes for, how much the gain is for. Just focus on what is actually happening on this play. So trips to the open side of the field, nub tight end into the boundary. Puka Nacua comes in motion, loops and wraps around the tight end, and actually does a really good job. Again, this is ancillary as well, but watch the job he does fitting up on Love, the safety. That's a piece you're going to come away from in this episode. I know a lot of people know how good of a year Puka Nacua had from a pass catching standpoint. He's legitimately a tremendous blocker, like not just for a wide receiver, like he's a good blocker. The effort that he shows first and foremost is good, but his physicality, like he bangs with dudes, whether it's defensive linemen, whether it's linebackers or safeties or corners, he's a good blocker. But watch him fit up here on Love. Boom, drives him right out. This is such a nice block, drives him completely out of the picture. Again, forget how much the run goes for. Just look at the window dressing, look at the initial alignment. So again, trips, you're an 11 personnel, so that means you have 3 wide receivers. Those trips, wide receivers, are to the open side of the field or the wide side of the field. You've got the tight end towards the boundary. You're going to send Puka Nacua in motion, and he's going to fit up the safety. Again, just watch Puka. This is the last time I'm going to show it, but I just want you to see how far Puka drives the safety right out. Just come through, fit, engage, boom, drive him out. Really great block from Puka. Okay, so that's earlier in the year. Now, let's go to that game against the Colts where we have a bunch of clips. And that's why I wanted to show that first play, again, because you're marrying the pass and the run. This is how you build off of those concepts, making things look similar, whether it's a run, whether it's a pass, any of those pieces. So again, what are we going to get? Just like that Seattle game, here comes Puka in motion. Here he comes. Defense is starting to shift, and you're thinking, okay, here comes that run. This time, he doesn't wrap around the tight end. This time, he inserts between the right tackle and the tight end. Very similar motion and action from Stafford, but this time it's a pass, and watch him just blaze by that second level grouping. A little bit of a high throw by Stafford, but Nacua adjusts, makes a good catch, right? Marrying the pass and the run, making your runs look like your passes, making your passes look like your runs. Some of that can be done just with your footwork from your offensive lineman. It can be done formationally or from an alignment perspective, or especially these little motion wrinkles that you can attach. Having motion right before the snap makes a defense have to adjust. You'll see those shifts from the second level defenders. If you've watched Bills games for the past couple of years, which I imagine most people have here, how much Miami and Green Bay and the Jets under LaFleur when they had him motion to the Bills, and you'd see Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano and Taron Johnson shift. Even this past year, you see Milano and Bernard and Taron Johnson shift. Like you've seen teams manipulate the Bills' second level defenders with motion. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you know what motion does to a defense at the last minute. The defense has to adjust from an alignment perspective themselves, and they also have to adjust from a communication and coverage standpoint in terms of calling things out. So again, I'm going to just let it run for a little bit now. We saw exactly what happened against the against the Seahawks with the Rams. Puka came through. This looks like the almost exact same thing. And even you see the safety. Let's go back here. Watch the safety. Watch the safety step up. That's Blackman. Down safety, single high coverage. Watch him step up. He communicates, widens out the corner. He sees Puka coming through. He steps up. Again, ID and looking for that run, and Puka's coming head up on him. So he's like, all right, cool. Let me not get blocked by Puka. Let me undercut that block and make a play on the ball. And Puka's just like, nah, psych. It's actually a play action pass. And then really nice catch from Puka. And I'll just let that run. From the end zone angle as well. And Joe says, I know this isn't the intent, but it just makes you realize how good of a thrower Stafford is. He's so much fun to watch in depth. I tweeted out a bunch of throws in preparing for this episode. I just started tweeting out random, ridiculous Matt Stafford throws. Yeah, he's a ridiculous thrower of the football. Oh, Ryan says, beautiful. Yeah, step up. Good throw. But again, marrying the run and the pass. That's the whole point of that play. It looks exactly like a similar play. And actually, if I'm not crazy, oh, no, this one's at the 35. The play against the Seahawks that I showed first was around the 50. But if you're a defense and you see that, you're thinking, okay, boom, here comes that run. Like, let's key on it. Now they're working in a play action pass built off of that run. So now you have to account for both. Now, if you're a defender, you're almost kind of playing a guessing game or hope that you're guessing right. Or you're trying to find another key or another clue or another tell, or maybe you're trying to really tie into the down and distance to be your indicator in terms of what you're going to do. But once you see this on tape, if you're a defense, it's not like, okay, once this motion happens, we know the run is coming. Let's sell out for the run. No, it could also be a play action pass. So now you have to be very disciplined if you're a second level defender. And it just causes you to think, to process, to read everything that's happening in front of you. And the more you think and the more you have to process and the longer that it takes you, ideally for an offense, the less you're able to play fast and just read and react and make plays. So again, this one just, I think is a really nice way to start it off of just marrying the run and the pass, something I would like the Bills to continue to do and do more of. Again, blend those pieces together so a defense really doesn't know, here comes the run, here comes the pass. I think they got a little better in this aspect under Brady, but it will be nice to see them lean into this aspect a little bit more here. What else? Anything else on this play? No. Okay, let's move on to the second play here. Condensed formation, 11 personnel for the Rams. This play is really highlighting the benefit of having wide receivers who can function as blockers. You're going to get a motion from Ben Skowronek, who is your wide receiver right here. You're going to get that motion from Ben Skowronek, which is going to shift the defense at the second level and shift them overall, which will create leverage and angles for the run blocking. And then you are going to see Mr. Puka Nacua right here erase Kenny Moore and create a seam for this run play. So we'll just watch this develop. Watch as Skowronek comes in motion here. Watch the shift from Kenny Moore and the shift from the second level. Blackman's already starting to come down, but he's going to come down obviously more once he sees Skowronek motion. Boom, boom. And look at that space. Indianapolis is screwed. If this corner fits outside like he does, Kyren Williams is banging it right here in this seam. If the corner somehow wants to knife inside here and try and time it, Kyren can bang it outside and take all this space outside. So Indianapolis is screwed right here from the jump. This is so well designed and executed by the Rams. And then Kyren, not the speediest back in the world, but he does take advantage of that space. I want to show it from the end zone angle and highlight what Puka Nacua does. So again, this is a nice schematic piece, the condensed formation plus the motion, shift the defense. And again, being in the condensed formation, the Rams are in 11 personnel 95% of the time in 2023, which is ridiculous. And the reason they're able to live in 11, meaning they have 3 wide receivers, again, for those who don't know, the reason they're able to live in 11, and think also too, this is before Cooper Kupp was back yet for this Rams team. So they're rolling out there with Puka, Ben Skowronek, and Van Jefferson. Once Cooper Kupp comes into the mix, 2 of their receivers are Puka and Cooper Kupp, which allow them to do almost anything in the pass and anything in the run. So, and Justin says, notice how the guards aren't pulling? Sure, wait till I get to more of the film and then see what teams like the Lions do to mess with defenses with their pulling guards. Once you get someone like Cooper Kupp, very good route runner, also a good blocker. Again, it's this notion for the Rams of being able to live in 11, and they can be in 11 and they can spread you out and run like spread passing concepts, or they can get condensed. They can go with these power, heavier type of looks because they've got receivers who not only can function as pass catchers, but because they can function as blockers. You have to respect the run right here because of what the Rams wide receivers can do in terms of blocking. And they have some good offensive linemen as well. But you have to respect their wide receivers as blockers. But you also have to respect them as pass catchers. So you can't just sell out versus the run, and you can't just sell out versus the pass. And then because of having more bodies closer to the line of scrimmage, if you're the offense, you have the ability to get to more in the run game menu. Again, all this idea of mismatch creation, putting a defense into a bind based on schematics, based on personnel, alignment, formation, all that kind of stuff. And if you're looking at it right here, like look how many guys we got on the screen, starting from Van. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All 11 offensive bodies for the Rams are in this end zone shot right now. That is condensed. which is nice for them. There goes Schematic. We see the movement at the second level. The second level defender shift. And then we get a little duo run here, and just watch Puka erase Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore got Puka on a couple reps in this game. What I'm going to show here is going to make it seem like Puka just owned Kenny Moore for the entirety of this game, which is not what happened. Kenny Moore is one of the best slot corners in the league, along with Taron Johnson and Mike Hilton. But watch Puka just boom erase him. Then a good cut from Kyron. I just, again, want to highlight Puka. But that's the benefit, right? Now imagine instead of Puka Nacua being there, imagine it's Keon Coleman or Matt Collins or MVS or even Curtis Samuel is a good blocker, or even Khalil Shakir, who improved his blocking last year. Like, the benefit of having wide receivers who can function as blockers, it's what makes condensed formations so intriguing for offenses now. In addition to, because you can run the ball out of those looks, cool. You got defenses that want to live in too high coverage structures. You can't really do that regularly against an offense who's running these condensed formations out of personnel groupings that can live in both the run and the pass, because you have to respect both. So you're just going to get gouged on the ground if you stay in too high. And then even if you're in single high, you still got to fit it up correctly. And then you might have mismatch advantages like a big bodied or physical tough receiver or good blocking receiver who can fit up your nickel corner like Puka Nacua on this play. Boom. Really nice play from Puka on that one. Next play, we're going to go and look into. This play is crunch. One of my favorite plays. All crunch means is you get a trap block and a wham block at the same time. What you're going to see this defensive tackle get penetration, and you're going to see a trap block from the left guard on him, and you're going to see this defensive tackle get penetration, and you're going to get a wham block from the tight end. A wham block and a trap block are the exact same thing. Except the trap block is done by a guard or an offensive lineman. Wham block is done by the tight end. But all it is basically you're inviting the defensive tackle to come upfield and think like, oh man, I got a free shot at somebody, and then he's getting banged from the side. So you'll see here on this play, you get crunch again out of 11 personnel. And what you're going to get that blocking scheme up front. But then also, again, notice Puka Nacua. He's the man right over here, just slightly off screen, off this angle. But watch him go forward and work versus the closing safety. So we're going to play. If you want to watch the left guard, watch the tight end there. You'll see the trap and wham block respectively. I'm going in slow motion. Actually, I'm going to go in regular time. And then there's the snap. We'll go in slow motion now. Okay, boom. See? We're going to trap here, wham block here. This is where the ball is going. Now, if Puka can get in front of this man, cool. If he can bang him and wash him down, cool. Like, you just want to see some sort of effort, activity, especially from a rookie wide receiver who's getting adjusted to the NFL. But watch the block that Puka puts on Blackman. Boom. Watch the displacement he creates, and he chucks him out of the hole. Running back's able to get north and south and get some good yards. And again, why I'm showing this, because the Bills can run something similar to this. And I'm not saying the Bills have these exact offensive linemen. I'm not saying they have a tight end that can block as good as Tyler Higbee. I'm not saying they have Puka Nacua or somebody who has this much versatility at the wide receiver position. But you have players that can somewhat replicate this. You have receivers who are going to be able to function legitimately as both a pass catcher and as a run blocker. Maybe not to the level of Puka Nacua, but still enough to a level that a defense is going to have to respect that player, and they're going to have to respect both the run and the pass from that exact notion. This could be, so this is Puka Nacua right here. This could be Dalton Kincaid. It could be Dawson Knox. It could be Keon Coleman. It could be MVS. It could be Curtis Samuel. It could be Khalil Shakir. It could be a variety of dudes who can live in the light and the dark, function as a run blocker, but also function as a pass catcher. Again, one more time, just to show Puka. This is also something I want all you folks to take away from this episode too. Like, I know a lot of, I don't know how much football aside from the Bills, a lot of Bills fans watch, especially with like the eye or attention to detail that they do for the Bills. But I watch tape across the entire NFL. And so I really like to put other teams into perspective when I can. Just appreciate how good of a blocker Puka Nacua is, in addition to being a good pass catcher and everything else that he can do. Let's get, what play do we got here? Oh, this is just, oh, actually, no, wait, I skipped one. Nope, I didn't. There we go. No. Okay. We're going to this one. Okay. So another end zone angle. What's going to happen here? We're getting a little stretch play here from the Rams with a crack from Puka. Sorry, my notes were out of order for a minute. I was like, what the hell is going on? This is a defensive end. This is a legitimate edge player. Watch Puka just wash him down on the snap. I'll play it in real time just so you can see how effective it is. Boom. Just gets him right out of the way, clears and opens that front side. Why I want to show this play again is so you get that stretch play. You could run this with James Cook, get to the outside. Again, look at a tighter split, give you that opportunity to crack down, wash a guy out, just get him out of the way. This doesn't have to be the most amazing block. Like you just want to obstruct the man. But what can be tough is the angle that you take. Like Puka does a great job. He hits him square and just drives him out. But if you get him too high on this shoulder, this guy can get underneath you and force this running back to kind of bubble it out a little bit. Actually, that's not a good bubble, but make him kind of bubble it out this way instead of being able to stay flat and then stay flat and push the line. God, my lines are terrible. So if you're too high, this guy can get underneath you. Or the opposite can happen. If you're too low, this guy can skirt and get around you and fill in this spot here. And again, make that running back who wants to be here, make him have to try and bubble out and string this run out a little bit. Puka gets him flush, clears him right out. Also, watch Mr. Rob Havenstein here, number 79. No disrespect to him, but he's not the mover in space that Spencer Brown is. So imagine, and Havenstein does a fine job here out in space, but imagine this play with, again, whoever you want as your blocker there. Could be a tight end, could be a wide receiver, whoever you want for the Bills. And then imagine this is a Bills 79 instead of a Rams 79 with Spencer Brown. So again, Puka cracks down on that edge, which allows Havenstein to get out in space and have a mismatch against a corner. And Kenny Moore tries to undercut this thing. So instead of forcing it back outside, Kenny Moore tries to undercut it, almost makes the play. Havenstein does just enough. And then we get a really good block outside from Tutu Atwell, who also isn't talked about enough as a blocker. Not a tremendous blocker, small, not the biggest dude. He is a much willing blocker than he gets credit for, or at least he was in the games that I studied for this episode, which were a lot. Then there we go. Nice game. Again, watch Havenstein out in space, and this is something where Spencer Brown is going to excel out here. Spencer Brown might even he might not even just get a hand on Kenny Moore here. He might straight bury him so that way James Cook can stay tighter and get up north and south earlier. But again, nice play. Big body receiver, cracks down, washes the edge, allow your athletic tackles to get out in space. Bills could run this to the other side and have it be Deion Dawkins instead. Again, another element that the Bills could potentially incorporate. This one, we're going to get Puka Nacua functioning like a tight end. I know I continue to highlight Puka Nacua here, but this really could be, you'll get reps of this from Ben Skoranek. You'll get some good blocks from Tutu Atwell. And again, some of the other guys or other teams we're going to show, you'll get this kind of aspect as well. There are several teams who lean into the bigger bodied wide receivers or physical wide receivers or good or willing blocking wide receivers who are also good pass catchers. And again, what makes this so effective for the Rams and what makes Puka so effective is he is a good pass catcher. He is good as a receiving option being a wide receiver, but he's also a good run blocker. What you're going to get here on this play is basically a split zone run on this one. We're going to get some split flow. Watch the offensive line and the tight end. Also, actually, I forgot about this. Watch the motion from Tutu Atwell. What does it do? Shifts that defense. Boop. Everybody bumps over because you got to respect that notion. And also, let's count all the bodies. We got Van Jefferson out here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Again, condensed formation. Everybody is in this screenshot. So when you get that motion from Tutu Atwell, number 5, on the outside there, you get this motion. Everybody's got to bump. You got to respect it. Then we get the snap. We get the split flow. Everybody going down, going this way, going this way, going this way, going this way, going this way. But watch what happens here. The edge player gets inside of Tyler Higbee. So watch what Puka Nacua does right here. This is Puka. Boom, boom. Get some split flow. Watch what Puka does. Bang. Pops him. Widens that hole. Protects the inside of the tight end. And he gives a legitimate pop to a defensive end. Bang. Again, doesn't pancake him, doesn't drive him onto the hole, but he gets under him, gives him a good shoulder, sends him upright a little bit. Not easy to do. Play it in slow motion as we go. Just secures everything here. And then the running back puts his foot in the ground. Washed, washed. Get a nice little alley right here. There's that seam. Cool. Let me put my foot in the ground. If I'm the running back, and get north and south. And then who knows? Maybe this corner misses this tackle or doesn't play it good. Maybe you get one-on-one with a safety. This is a really nice gain, an easy game, but again, partially made because of the job that Puka Nacua does. Again, who could you do this with? Keon Coleman and Mac Hollins and MVS, maybe even Curtis Samuel, maybe Khalil Shakir. I don't want to bang Shakir like this regularly, or maybe one of your tight ends. Like, you can do this if you're the Bills. And again, what do we got? 11 personnel. 1, 2, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back, right? Cool. You know what else you could do this out of if you're the Bills? You could do it out of 12. Maybe this is Dawson Knox and this is Dalton Kincaid, or maybe it's reversed and this is Dalton Kincaid and maybe this is Dawson Knox. Or maybe you want to make one of them Reggie Gilliam. I would rather do one of the tight ends because I think they're more of a bind creator and mismatch creator in terms of the pass and the run. But yeah. Again, this doesn't have to be 11 personnel. You can do this out of 12. This is what is exciting if you're the Bills. Being in this type of what the Rams are doing right now, they're in 11 personnel. Most people think 11 personnel. Oh, okay, so you're doing a lot of shotgun. You're spreading teams out. You're attacking everybody with the pass. And the Rams are like, yeah, we're going to pass the ball, but we're also going to run condensed formations because, again, our 11 personnel has 3 wide receivers that are physical and can block, or has 2 really good blockers, or 1.5, 2.5, some sort of piece like that. Again, this works. This offense works because you got guys that allow you to access more of the menu without having to turn the page. It could be a run, it could be a pass, it could be a gap run, it could be a zone run, it could be a variety of things because you're living in this personnel grouping and you're living in condensed formations. One more time, just because I like this block. I just really like Puka Nacua. Boom. Good block. Good game. Let's go to our second last play here for the Rams. We're going to get a crack toss here. Might also be a zone toss. But again, 11 personnel. What do we have? Condensed formation. Got trips bunch out here. Nub tight end into the boundary. Again, continue to live in this world if you are the Rams. Again, wide receivers who can function like tight ends. You're going to get Puka Nacua, who's going to wash the edge. Kenny Moore actually does a really good job out here against Van Jefferson and Schematic. Like, he muddies their read and kind of gets through them both, but the running back makes a good cut. And then the climbing offensive linemen do their job. What's also nice, too, is how you can tie this run in with counter. So being in condensed formations and this type of alignment personnel grouping, like crack toss or runs to the perimeter, are just, you're inviting that. Like, look at all, especially if your wide receiver side, wide receivers who can block, like, is to the field side. Like, look at all this space. Sorry, my highlights are terrible. Look at all this space. And what do you got out here for dudes in this space? You've got a slot corner and an outside corner. Usually dudes who aren't the best run defenders or force players, or guys who are ready to bang and box somebody in or make a play against the run. So you have to hope, if you're a defense, you have dudes who can bang like that. Like, you are inviting an offense to attack you all in this space right here. So maybe you're a defense and maybe you want to cheat and maybe you want to spin a safety down here pre-snap and go single high coverage. If you start to do that, if you want to cheat, then you can alert and have an alert call baked into that run. You can run counter and go back the opposite way. If a team wants to bring a safety down to the wide receiver side, to that bunch side, you can go counter and then run it back this way. So again, another layer to, again, continue to put defenses into a bind. But we'll just run the play here. Oh, no, it's loading. I'll go back here. Oh, why are you doing this to me? Okay, here we go. Somebody's just got to click a new thing. All right, cool. Let's watch Puka, Skoranek, Van Jefferson. Again, it starts with Puka at the point of attack. Get on his man right there. Against Samson, Ebukem, edge for the Colts, who I wanted the Bills to get 2 off seasons ago. Bang. Oh, that's not Ebukem. Washes him right down. Look at the displacement. Not even in this play. He's out, erased, waxed, done. Again, like I mentioned, decent play from Kenny Moore. Muddies this whole thing up right here. Actually almost makes the tackle. But then you just get a cut. The Rams offensive linemen are climbing to the second level. Dude gets chucked right out here. We get a nice game. Again, all starting because of Puka Nacua working against that edge player initially. You can even see the communication beforehand. They're trying to like figure things out. Yeah, that's not Samson Ebukam. Ebukam's 52. Bang. Look at you actually get like legitimate displacement on this run here. Like watch Puka chuck this edge player. Like it's not even just he washes him down. He chucks him. He gets underneath him, gets his shoulder into him, and effectively displaces him. Bang. He's out. Actually, and if you think about it, kind of bangs him into 93 right here for the Colts. Kind of get a little 2-for-1 here from Puka. But again, this is what bigger bodied physical wide receivers offer you. And then you get some good climbs from the offensive line. Some nice blocking here. Climb to the second level if we are the Rams. Boom. Everybody flowing to the football. Kyren pushes this outside and then cuts it back. So Zaire Franklin is going to kind of take himself out of this play, even though he has to. The corner is going to also take himself out of this play. So you've got two dudes in one gap, basically. Running back doesn't go that way. So he's going to cut it back. EJ Speed gets chucked. And you get a nice cut upfield. I think I have the other end zone angle as well. Yeah, highlighting Puka. Bang. Look at that displacement. Cut upfield. Attack that perimeter out of these condensed formations, especially if you're running back with speed. Like the Rams are able to do this, and Kyren Williams is not a burner. Kyren Williams is a good running back. Gets north and south, falls forward, understands how to be efficient, and is a good pass protector, but doesn't have the speed that James Cook has at all. But they're able to affect the outside here because of block here. Again, ideally, like they want to pin him inside and be able to get to that outside. But Kenny Moore just does a really good job here. In an ideal world, again, let's go back because you can see how the linemen adjust. In an ideal world, Puka's going there, this is going here, and then this run is coming out, and you're having these guys lead the way, and we're getting to the perimeter. But again, like I said, Kenny Moore does a pretty good job. Shout out to him muddying this whole thing up. Gets around Van, and he starts to work that outside. And then again, plus Zaire Franklin and the other corner, they show it's not there. But that's the point of having other people do their job and the adjustments that you can have baked in. And it works because Puka crushed this here, and Kenny Moore is getting taken out of the play a little bit. Dotson's climbing, and Speed gets taken out. You have a natural cutback lane. Boom. So nice things that the Rams can do. I also wanted to show one more random thing from the Rams game. This is such a small thing. This is just one little piece here. I really like what the Rams did last year in just terms of getting creative out of like running duo. We saw the Bills run a ton of duo last year. We broke it down in the film room. I broke it down in the show. If you think back to the Raiders game, they're running duo like a ton in that game. What you usually get from duo is you're getting double teams from your offensive linemen, and then running backs going here, reading like the Mike linebacker or play side linebacker and trying to make him wrong. If he fills here, he goes this way. If he comes here, he goes this way. You're always running into the tight end. But what the Rams started doing is started pulling a tight end or wide receiver and using them to still block. So this is duo, but to the left. And instead of just doing it from a stationary alignment where usually the tight end would be here and you just run duo to the tight end side, they still do run it to the tight end side, but they do it by motioning the tight end first, which adds a nice little wrinkle. Everybody gets washed down, front side. This is another aspect I would like the Bills to create too, or borrow from as well. These motion pieces. Again, everybody gets washed down inside. It kind of functions almost, it looks like split zone, but it's not. And then, especially around the low red zone, you just need like a yard or two, bang. Really nice play. Again, steal from people, copycat league, all that kind of stuff. Where are at? KM Morty says this seems like a time to make an obligatory random Justin Shorter comment. Fair. RJ says, I wish we had Sean McVay as our OC. He's phenomenal. He is one of the best in the business. Play caller, designer, sequencer, layer. Dude is extremely smart. Plus, you see all those cool videos where they're like Oh, do you remember like the 17th play of the game from the 2019 season against this team? He's got like perfect recall memory. I don't know if it's fake or not, but like, man, it's just wild what he does. I love this comment from Ryan saying, damn, I never knew Puka was also a top tier blocker like this. What an Aladdin's gem in the rough, beyond what I even thought before. I love that comment, Ryan, because again, I want to show what the Bills can do, and I'm obviously tying this into the Bills, but I like this episode from a knowledge standpoint for everyone watching, so you can get more accustomed to, again, even though I'm only showing a couple games here, you can get more accustomed to, well, what does the Rams offense look like? What does Puka look like? What does Tutu Atwell look like? So that way you get more of a knowledge base and an understanding of the game as a whole, which will help you understand the game as a whole and put the Bills' performances into perspective even more. I love that you took that away, Ryan. Appreciate the hell out of you. Laura says, and now that we lost Gabe, who do you think our best offensive wide receiver blocker will be? I heard it's not Kincaid. If we're talking just wide receiver, probably Mac Hollins, or I want to put Keon Coleman into the conversation, but he is a rookie. And even if you think someone projects well, you never know what someone's going to be because they're a rookie with no snaps. So I want to say Keon Coleman or put him in that conversation, but I'll probably say Mac Hollins as of right now. But I think, again, from a pass catching standpoint, I'm putting the tight ends in that grouping. I'm putting Kincaid in there. I'm putting Knox in there. I'm putting all of them because of what you can do from an alignment perspective. There's so much. I would probably say Mac Hollins. Again, I want to say Keon Coleman. We just haven't seen it yet. Okay, so now we're going to go away from the Rams and we're going to go to the Houston Texans. So what I mentioned earlier, the teams that we're looking at in this episode are 3 of the 5 teams with the lowest formational width in 2023. The Rams had the second lowest formational width. Again, just another way of saying how much they use condensed formations. The Rams had the second lowest formational width in 2023. The lowest team was the San Francisco 49ers. The Rams were just behind, or I should say ahead of them or behind them, depending on how you want to look at it. The Niners had an average formational width of 19.7, lowest in the league last year. The Rams had the second lowest at 20.0, so 0.3, so 10th of a point less. 29th in that grouping. So the Niners were 32nd, the Rams were 31st. 29th on that list were the Houston Texans. The Miami Dolphins were 30th, but again, I didn't want to do the Dolphins and Niners because of some of the unicorn dudes that they have. So started with the Rams, who had the second lowest formational width in the league last year, and the Houston Texans, who had the 4th lowest formational width in the league last year. And then from an EPA per play standpoint, the Rams were 9th in EPA per play last year. Texans were 15th, but did some really nice things schematically. Also, rookie quarterback adjusting, injuries to him at some point. So kind of some wonkiness going in there, but an offense that, really started to take up when they needed to take up. Could have honestly lost in that play-in game kind of against the Colts if that pass gets completed or if the running back doesn't drop it. But nonetheless, a good offensive mind and offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick, and some good schematic things that you were seeing out of the Houston Texans. And also partially why I wanted to bring the Texans into this is because, again, Nico Collins is tremendous. Tank Dell is tremendous. I like what Dalton Schultz is. Laramie Tunsil is one of the best linemen in football, arguably the best left tackle in all of football. They have Shaq Mason. They have a bunch of good pieces, but again, a lot of what they were doing is schematic and things that can be replicated. No, not everybody has Nico Collins and Tank Dell and Laramie Tunsil and all these dudes. But again, the schematic piece is what teams can lean into, and a team like the Bills can steal from a little bit. So nothing crazy here with this one. This first play here for the Houston Texans. You get a heavy personnel grouping. I put 21/12 just because this is Beck, who's kind of like fullback / H-back / tight end. So however the hell you want to classify him, I don't care. He's a heavy type of dude. So this is a heavy personnel grouping. If you want to call it 21, cool. If you want to call it 12, cool. I don't care. Plus the alignment as well. Like, he's hipped off. Dalton Schultz is hipped off the right tackle, and then you got him hipped off of Laramie Tunsil right here. So effectively, you've got a 7-man surface. So it ends up playing out like 12. But if he's technically a fullback, whatever. So I just put it there in case there's somebody who wants to nitpick. Look how condensed and tight everything is. So the ball is on the left hash. Tank Dell is the end man on the line of scrimmage to the top of the screen. Couple yards outside of the right hash. And then Nico Collins, end man on the line of scrimmage to the bottom of the screen, inside the numbers. This is condensed. Also, there's no particular rhyme or reason why this is another game featuring the Colts defense. It just happened to work out that way. I want to grab this too. Justin says, I think the teams with low width have below average offensive lines, but that may be just me. When we get to the last team in this, you may rethink that a little bit. Also, just from an offensive line standpoint, the 49ers don't have a below average offensive line. And the last team that we're going to be looking at in this episode have one of the best offensive lines in football. But I understand where your thought process comes from there. So that's fair. Again, nothing crazy here. This isn't something nuts schematically. I just want to show from a passing standpoint. A lot of the stuff we showed previously with the Rams was from a run standpoint, right? Using your wide receivers as run blockers and the advantage that it can be because of who they are as pass catchers. But I didn't really show a lot of pass stuff aside from that first play where we showed the run with Puka Nacua coming in motion and then the Rams using a pass off of it, making you look exactly like the run and how those two things coalesce, right? But this is this is a straight up pass, condensed 2x2 formation, 2 to the top, 2 to the bottom, 21 personnel here. And just when you line up in this way, instead of being spread where you put guys into open space pre-snap, what you're doing in condensed formations from a pass standpoint, instead of filling this space with guys pre-snap, you're filling this space with routes post-snap. So here's Tank Dell up here. Again, nothing crazy. Tank Dell attacks the space. Boom. CJ Stroud hits him quick. Dell gets upfield, gets close to a first down. Again, nothing crazy. I'm just showing this because of what you can do in the pass. Attack that space. Also notice, too, you're going to see a couple of these. Watch the rhythm and the timing of CJ Stroud. Gets the ball, one step. He's already turning and opening his shoulders. He's firing this ball before Tank Dell is really even out of the break, even looking for it, and then the ball is on him. Okay? We talked about that earlier with Allen. When you are running these condensed formations and you're running routes out of these, there is more of a timing rhythm-based nature to it. You have to be effective with your eyes, with your reads, with your decisions. Now, a lot of it, again, is schemed for you, or can be schemed for you, I should say, but you got to be good with your rhythm, with your mechanics, with your feet, with your eyes, everything, okay? And so that's another piece as well. So again, instead of, putting Tank Dell out here and having him run a little hitch to this spot, you do it from a condensed look. And again, because of the personnel grouping you have here, right? You have a 7-man surface, heavy personnel grouping. Look how the Colts respond, okay? You got 3 in the back, single high coverage here, but you've got a lot of bodies respecting this alignment because it looks like a run. You've only got 2 receivers on the field. You've got a big, heavy, full quasi fullback tight end dude out here. This looks like a running formation. It looks like it could be a run. Even if it's not, you do have to respect it because the Texans will run out of this grouping. So you have the tendency from the Texans. You have the football tendency of being like, oh, dude's going heavy. Let's see what it can be. So you force the Colts defense into a single high look, which also has a nice benefit as well. And then again, you attack that space post snap. Oh, that's not Dalton Schultz out there. I made a mistake. Doesn't matter. Same premise. Then you attack that space. Boom. Get him field. Success. Again, okay, nothing crazy. Just attack the space post snap, rhythm, throw, catch. Nice. Next one we're going to look at for the Houston Texans. Condensed formation. You're going to get a tight end shift. So right now they're in a 3 over here and then 1 over here. So right now they're in a 3-by-1. You're going to get a shift into a 2-by-2. I picked this example because it ties into the condensed formation piece, but also into a nice way where you could utilize Dalton Kincaid. And I like what the Texans do with Dalton Schultz on this play. So here comes Schultz shifting over here. Now this is 3rd and 5. So where are we here? Y'all. So line of scrimmage is right here. Here's the first down marker right at, I came decently close to drawing a straight line there. So the first down marker is at the 6-yard line. So again, 3rd and 5. Here comes Schultz in motion. Well, technically a shift. Lines out here. Again, we went from a 3-by-3. Now we're in a 2-by-2. And watch Schultz. Again, it's 3rd and 5. And something you will commonly see out of these condensed looks, like you'll get this stick concept where you'll get somebody in the flat, you'll get somebody who will hitch up right here, or somebody's just trying to attack that space. So you'll get that look in general from a condensed formation. The Texans also show this kind of look, but then also because it's 3rd and 5, you might be thinking, hey, this guy's trying to get to the sticks. Watch how Schultz stems this route. Makes it look like he's kind of going to sit right here. Hesitates a little, then splits the linebackers and gets upfield. Stroud misses the throw, but I love that design. I love that concept. Starting a 3-by-1. And again, watch how the defense reacts, right? You see the communication already from here from Blackman. What it looks like initially pre-snap is you're going to have a single high safety. They see Schultz. They check. Blackman calls out to his corner. Turns there. Everybody's communicating. Maybe he was already going to drop. Maybe that's not the communication we're seeing. Again, I'm trying to connect puzzle pieces. I'm not in the huddle. I don't know, but that's what it looks like. And then just a nice job. Watch Schultz right here. Sells this. It's that little hesitation. Makes it look like he's going to sit in between those two linebackers, almost right at the sticks, like he's about to sit at the 5-yard line. He's going to hitch it up. Catch this pass right here. Nope. Boop. And gets upfield. Splits them both. Nice design. Nice play. I want that for Dalton Kincaid. It's another similar idea to the previous play in terms of what I would like to see the Bills do or steal or borrow from another player here. So condensed formation, 3-by-1 formation in particular. 11 personnel. Brevin Jordan is the one tight end. And then the receivers that we have here are Nico Collins, Robert Woods, and Tank Dell. Ball is on the right hash into the boundary. The bunch is to the wide side of the field. Nothing crazy here. You're just going to get effectively, where are we here? Split zone run, which can be fine on its own. You're going to see the line go down to the left and see their angles. You'll see everybody kind of go this way. Offensive line all moving to the left. You'll see Brevin Jordan come this way, which is fine. Split zone is a good concept in and of itself. If you get the right box counts, that can be fun. But the reason why I wanted to draw this up too is, again, out of a condensed formation. Here comes Jordan across. Kicks out the edge. Well, goes to cut him. Same premise. Drive him out, cut him, don't allow him to get upfield. And the run goes inside. Nothing crazy, like a 3-yard gain. The reason I wanted to show it is because of the potential for the Bills. Imagine, as we watch Mr. Brevin Jordan come out here, imagine instead of this being CJ Stroud, imagine this is Josh Allen. And imagine instead of handing this ball off, he keeps it. And this becomes a situation where he's got the ball here out in space against an edge. Or even if you wanted to go from a run standpoint, let me move forward here a little bit. I got to figure out which end zone angle to get it through. Here it is. Actually, I'll just let this play for real. So instead of having the sniffer tight end being Brevin Jordan, instead of having him kick out the edge, you could have him arc to the linebacker instead of taking out that edge. And you could have Allen's legs be the piece that hold this linebacker, right? So, because again, think of who makes this play. Shaq Leonard helps make this play on Dameon Pierce. Jordan comes across. Brevin Jordan takes out this edge. But what you could do is you could have Brevin Jordan come here. Allen's legs are enough of a threat where he can hold this edge and effectively be the blocker for him, even though he's not even touching him. So you don't even have to touch this edge because the idea of Josh Allen keeping this ball and running with it or doing something with it can be enough to hold this defensive end right here. We've seen it happen regularly with Josh Allen. So instead of having Jordan come and take out this edge, you can have him go to the second level, fit up on that linebacker. This guy can hold here because he's going to have eyes on this mesh point and worried about the threat of Josh Allen. And now all of a sudden, as we play this going forward, imagine instead of Jordan being here on the edge, imagine he's on this linebacker. And maybe Dameon Pierce is able to get through this hole. Or Jordan fits up on him here, so Dameon Pierce presses and bounces, which could be even better because look at Nico Collins crashing down on that safety right there, right? Another element and another wrinkle. This is a fine play in and of itself. It's just a split zone run. Cool. Run your split zone. That's fine. No worries. But the run element, the legs element of Josh Allen is something that could pose an additional threat and add another layer and wrinkle to this play, which is something I really like. More Texan stuff. Let me grab a couple comments here. Joe says, what excites me the most is just how much more menacing Josh can be as a passer. If cohesive blocking schemes and productive running gives him a ton of short downs / distances to work with. Absolutely, Joe. He also says, make Josh feel like he's playing ahead and take those shots downfield / explosive throws because you can and not because you have to. What else? Joe also says, oh, make sure you're dropping a like for Ant. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. I appreciate you. Justin, for a comment earlier saying 17 versus that corner is a mismatch. Absolutely. RJ saying, Joe, that's 100% correct. This offense needs to take those shots because you can and not because you have to. Hopefully, Joe Brady can do that for him and the offense. Yeah, you just don't want to get boxed into a situation where, where the defense is dictating to you to take those shots. I think we saw that towards the end in the 2022 season, where, granted, Allen's elbow was banged up and he couldn't really make line drive intermediate throws. So throwing deep balls because the elbow angle was a little more comfortable for him. But we saw defenses kind of forcing those lower percentage throws. Like, Allen wasn't necessarily making the wrong read, chucking it deep all the time. And those weren't the only routes that were called at the end of 2022. But we saw just downfield, because the defense was taking everything away underneath. And it was like, well, the dude that's open is the dude that's 25, 30 yards downfield. So I'm going to chuck it because that's the dude who I think that's open. So you could see different layers and elements too. This offense. Let's go to some more Texans stuff. This time against the Denver Broncos. Again, this is similar to the first play I showed from this Texans playlist earlier against the Colts. Again, instead of filling space, instead of filling space with alignment pre-snap, you fill the space with routes post-snap. And again, notice the rhythm and timing for CJ Stroud, the throw. Very important when working from condensed formations like we talked earlier. Again, condensed formation, 2x2, 11 personnel. Brevin Jordan is the one tight end. You are going to get motion. Now it is going to be a 3x1. Now you have Nico Collins as the lone receiver into the boundary. But again, close and condensed. This ball is on the right hash. Nico Collins is the farthest man out, and he is still inside the numbers by a good amount. Watch him. Similar to the tanked out route. Speed out. Good route from Nico. Good throw from Stroud. And again, watch the rhythm and timing of Stroud. 1, 2, bang. Oh, I thought I could time it better. We'll go in slow motion so I can time it better. Gets the ball, feet, planted, starting his throw as Nico is coming out of the break. As he is turning, ball is on him, away from the corner, outstretched hands. Nice. Second down, ends up being 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. On time, in rhythm, good throw from CJ Stroud, efficient, good decision, good ball placement, but set up because of a condensed formation, creating that space that can then be filled with routes from the route distribution once the snap happens. Next play I want to show. So, again, continuing this trend of wide receivers as blockers and what you can do with these guys, what you get with the Houston Texans here, similar to kind of one of the plays we showed, or several of the plays we showed for the Rams, where you get the trips to one side and then you get that nub tight end, who's attached to the formation, attached to the line into the boundary. So not completely condensed, but not the widest formation. Ball is on the left hash. The widest wide receiver to the field side is on the numbers. And then again, you have your nub tight end right there. But look where Robert Woods is, almost lined up, hipped off of the right tackle. Nico Collins is right next to him. So you've got, including the quarterback, 10 of your bodies are almost effectively like in between the hashes based off of the alignment and based on where everybody is. Yes, I know they're not actually in between the hashes. I'm talking about where the ball is relative to where they are. Like, everything is tight and condensed. Everything is between the numbers and you are very tight. Low red zone situation. Watch the flow from Robert Woods. So you're going to get this split flow. Robert Woods is going to come across the formation. Watch what it does to number 49, Alex Singleton. Watch what it does to Lock, the safety over here. Also, again, what do we get? We get a little motion from Tank Dell. So now he's coming closer. So now we've got an even more condensed formation. He was aligned to the numbers. Now he's come inside. So we've got a true condensed formation here. And here comes Robert Woods on the snap. And this works. Watch the gravity. Draw Singleton. PJ Locke stays here. Moreau stays here. Watch the gravity. He's going from right to left, pulls guys with him. Now there's space at that second level, and that's right where Pierce bangs it in for the touchdown. Again, show it in real time here instead of slow-mo. Boom. Nice touchdown, right? This functions and this works because of Robert Woods being who he is. So this play working, there's a lot of layers to it, but you have that major stem piece of a wide receiver and coming in split flow, which could be a legitimate threat for him to continue to the flat for a pass because it's a wide receiver. So this is something common. Like you could see a wide receiver come in motion here. It could be play action to the running back. This wide receiver continues to the flat, and it's an easy touchdown. So you have to respect that wide receiver. This could be a slide route. Maybe he's not blocking. Maybe he continues to the flat. So because he's a wide receiver, you have to respect him as a viable pass catcher. But because Robert Woods is also a threat as a blocker, again, it puts the defense into a bind. And the Bills can emulate this type of action, this type of personnel grouping, this type of formation because of the body types, skill sets, and frames they have at the wide receiver position. Here comes Robert Woods. Again, watch Singleton flow over, Locke stay here, Moreau stay here. Watch the influence you get because of that split flow. Now, that split flow can potentially manipulate dudes in general, but it adds even more because of who Robert Woods is. And psych, it's not a run. Look, you got two, or it's not a pass. You got two defenders out here not contributing. I'm going to back it up a little bit. You can see, so they're out there. Alex Singleton is caught up in the wash over here, so it's all just chaos over here, and you get a nice seam for Dameon Pierce to bang this up inside. Again, condensed formation, 11 personnel, bigger body types at wide receiver who are physical and who can block. You are looking at these type of dudes like Nico Collins, Robert Woods, Noah Brown for the Houston Texans, Dalton Schultz, who's a tight end, but who is a receiving tight end who can also function as a blocker. So he's kind of like a pass catching option. He's kind of like in that Dalton Kincaid kind of mold. Well, he came first, so I guess Kincaid is in the Schultz kind of mold. Even Brevin Jordan, like athletic tight end, more of a receiving tight end than he is like a blocker and a masher, but can still get the job done as a blocker. So you got all these hybrid body types that allow you to put defenses into a bind. And when you add condensed formations into all of it, it just adds another layer. Now, let's go to our last team here. We're going to start with the Detroit Lions. We're going to watch some of their last game against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, sorry, if you're listening on the audio, I had to take a drink of water there. Now, if you are watching this for the Detroit Lions, I really like using them as a case study for a lot of what's working in the NFL. But while they don't have, again, tremendous, like a huge unicorn option, they do have like a lot of good players. They have one of the best offensive lines in the entire NFL. They have one of the best receivers in all of the NFL. They have a good play caller / designer / sequencer in Ben Johnson. You got what looks to be a really good overall, dual threat tight end in the run and the pass in Sam Laporta. You got a really fun running back combination with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. You've got one of the fastest players in the entire NFL in Jamison Williams. Like all these pieces that kind of coalesce into one. The Lions do have some fun dudes. But what I love for them and what I think a lot of people don't know, and I talked about it on multiple shows. I talked about it with JP Acosta. I talked about it with Mina Kimes. The Rams were in 11 personnel, 64. I'm sorry, I keep saying Rams. The Lions were in 11 personnel, 64% of the time in 2023. And they were a very good team on the ground and obviously a good team in the pass. And some of that is tied into the body types that they had at 11 personnel. One, and we'll get it out of the way now, Amon-Ra St. Brown, for his size and being as good of a pass catcher he is a much better run blocker than he gets credit for, and that gets talked about. And we're going to show some of that here. Not as good as Puka, but he's a dog against the run, and it fits with his personality type and the type of dude and player that he is. So Amon-Ra St. Brown can block. And then their second most snaps at wide receiver in 2023 were Josh Reynolds and Donovan Peoples-Jones. Bigger bodied wide receiver types who have to be respected as pass catchers, but who also can mash in the run game. They can pin down edges, wash dudes down, fit up on linebackers, crush safeties and outside corners and slot corners and all that kind of stuff. So again, the Rams could live in 11 personnel like they are now. So what do you get from the Rams right here on this play? And then we're going to go to the end zone view of it. What do you get from the Rams here? You have a condensed formation in 11 personnel, but you're able to run a strong run play and set the tone. You set the tone with physicality in the opening play of the NFC Championship game against the San Francisco 49ers. You set that tone with physicality and you do it out of 11 personnel. Like, that's just symbolic of what they're able to do. They can spread you out and pass. I like this comment from Garno Frex. Says, just pretend Rams equal Lions when listening. Yeah, that's fair. I'm sorry. I'm going to be better. I'm not going to say Rams anymore, excluding that one that I just said there. I like that. Well played. So you're setting the tone with physicality, and you're doing it out of 11. You're doing it with 3 wide receivers, and one of them is your best receiver, who's an all-pro caliber dude who, I don't even know from a statistical standpoint. I know from a fantasy standpoint, Amon-Ra St. Brown was like 3rd in the league last year, and that's because I had him on my team. I had him and CeeDee Lamb. It was a crazy year for me last year. I digress. You're setting the tone with physicality off rip with your wide receivers. And again, those are the same wide receivers, maybe not Reynolds as much, but Brown, where you can line up and spread, or you could do whatever you want. Like, Amon-Ra St. Brown's one of the best route runners in football. You can do all these things from a pass standpoint, and then you can mash dudes at the same time. You can run some pass stuff with Josh Reynolds and mash at the same time. Let's go with this play here. Watch as we go here. So you're going to get on this play, you saw it already. You're going to get the shift there from Sam Laporta, and then watch when Goff notices. So Goff alerts. He checks, he alerts. Everybody acknowledges it. Cool. Off of that, you are going to get Sam Laporta motioning pre-snap. And then I want you to watch Josh Reynolds on Bosa, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown on Lenore. Lenore is their nickel corner. Bosa is obviously an edge. And then you got Penei Sewell out here in space. Again, a little toss action. I showed it with the Rams, and I've talked about it. The toss play, the crack toss play, it could be, crack toss. It could be that outside zone type of toss. However it is, teams love running this against defenses. Teams that use condensed formations love running this because just look at all this space. Look at all this space there is to attack. Again, the ball is on the left hash. The trip side, or that bunch, is to the wide side of the field. So you've got space. Because it's a condensed formation, the defense ends the first play of the game. The defense doesn't want to be all up on the line of scrimmage and run into the chance that they get picked or get run into one another. So you got Charvarius Ward as the farthest most outside player here, but he's what, 5, 6, he's about 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. There's just oodles of space to attack here. And this is David Montgomery in the backfield, but if you have more of a speed back like Jahmyr Gibbs or James Cook, if you're the Buffalo Bills, fun stuff. So let's just watch this play. There goes Laporta in motion. Watch Reynolds on Bosa. Watch Amon-Ra St. Brown on Lenore. I'm showing it from the wide view, and then we're going to show it from the end zone angle. Oh, Reynolds just washes Bosa completely down. Amon-Ra St. Brown gets on Lenore, hooks them both, and there's just space to the field. Now, Penei Sewell, one of the best right tackles in football, one of the best movers in football. You can replicate this to a degree with Spencer Brown, who is a tremendous athlete at right tackle and can move in space. I am not saying he is Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell is one of the best right tackles in football. He's absolutely tremendous. I'm not saying that. Again, I'm saying you can replicate this to a degree. You have a good athletic move in space right tackle. You have physical wide receivers who can function as pass catchers and also function as run blockers. So again, that's to the degree. Again, if the Bills had Amon-Ra St. Brown, man, that would be amazing. If they have Penei Sewell, man, that would be amazing. They don't have players of that caliber right now, but you have guys that can replicate this type of alignment, formation, and execution post-snap. So again, I've highlighted Penei Sewell. Sewell's going to come in motion around here. And then, like we talked about, just watch Reynolds, number 8 there. He's the inside man. He's the number 2 receiver. Amon-Ra St. Brown is on the outside. Also, you get a slight, when you get the alert and check from Goff, you get a slight leverage creation because of the shifting inside from Fred Warner right here. It's slight, but nonetheless, it does happen. They all answer the alert. They check. Here we go. See the slight shift from Warner, Greenlaw, and Brown, the safety. Just watch where it starts here. Again, similar to what we saw with Puka Nacua. Watch Reynolds just completely take Bosa out of this play. Boom. Done. Here we go. Look at the form. Look at the eyes of Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is engaged. Locks in. Latches in on that apex. Look at how you've got a man leading out in space, another man leading out in space. You've got your, as we go back and show it again, you've got your right guard and your right tackle going out in space against an outside corner and a safety to that field side. That's advantage. You've used one of your smaller guys, a wide receiver, to take out one of their bigger body dudes in an edge. And just what you can do now. Fred Warner actually does a good job recovering and reading this, and he kind of gums things up here. But just look what you get. Then you get left guard out in space. Watch Penei Sewell just take out Charvarius Ward, puts him to the ground, buries him. Again, good play by Fred Warner after initially getting misled and going to the right there with that motion. After checking everybody and getting everybody lined up, for him to kind of put his foot back in the ground and flow over the top and then get to the sideline quickly and make a play. This is nice from Fred Warner, even though it is a 5-yard gain. But that's a good design, good flow. But again, it works because of the physicality of these wide receivers. And yes, Penei Sewell, the athleticism and him really getting out in the full front of it. But you have the nice schematic design, condensed. And again, let's pause it right here. Everybody is in this end zone shot. There is nobody outside the camera frame. You have all 11 players for the Lions in this end zone shot right now. Why? Because it's a condensed formation. So like I mentioned earlier, talking about all these teams and condensed formations and all this stuff, the 49ers had the lowest formational width last year. The Rams, second lowest. The Dolphins, third lowest. The Texans, fourth lowest. Fifth lowest were the Detroit Lions, and they were a 10th of a yard higher than the Houston Texans. The Texans were 29th at 21.7 yards in terms of formational width. The Lions were 28th at 21.8. So almost right there in lockstep. And again, tremendous offensive line, good play caller, schemer, designer, all that kind of stuff. And receivers who block at the point of attack like this. And again, this could be Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir. This could be Mac Hollins and Curtis Samuel. We heard Joe Brady talk about Curtis Samuel in terms of his blocking and what you can do. Like, this is nice. Set the tone. Man, it's hard to watch this game back and think that the Lions didn't win this game. This play that I wanted to show, this second play here for the Detroit Lions. This is how, and I've talked about it on Twitter. Eric and I talked about it in the film room. Really like what Ben Johnson does with Sam Laporta. It's a different kind of usage than what Ken Dorsey did with Laporta, or that what Dorsey did with Kincaid, and even what Joe Brady did with Kincaid. I'd really love Brady to pull some stuff from the Ben Johnson playbook in terms of scheming for Dalton Kincaid, like the Lions do for Laporta. But this one is really, really nice. So you've got 12 personnel here. You've got your 2 wide receivers to the field side, and then you've got Sam Laporta in line right next to the left tackle, and then you've got another tight end hipped off of Sam Laporta. So still somewhat of a low formational width. Ball's almost in the center of the field. The widest man to the short side is 3-4 yards off of the hash, and then both receivers are still inside the numbers to the bottom of the screen, so not a very wide formation. But what's nice about this is how misleading everything is. So what you're going to get from the Lions on this play, they are going to, you're going to get a shift from the H here, which is this tight end. They're going to pull the guard. Then you're going to have Sam Laporta engage on the edge. So you are going to have the personnel plus the formation, plus the alignment, plus the pre-snap shift, plus the post-snap action, all kind of indicating run to the defense. And we'll watch it here together. Here comes the shift. Oh, he's leading up. There goes the pull from the left guard. Here comes the action. Look at Sam Laporta right now, fully engaged on the edge. Psych gets play action. Laporta releases. Nice, easy check down, wide open. Want to show it from the end zone? Oh, not show it from the end zone angle. As you go forward here. No, I don't want to see that side of it. There we go. I want to see this side of it. This is also, Justin, if you're still here in the comments, you're talking about, teams with poor offensive lines using low formational width, or that being the key. Lions have a tremendous offensive line, low formational width, and then talking about, you like pulling receivers instead of pulling guards. Fine. Here's a pulling guard on this one for you, which the Lions do to kind of mix things up. It's really nice. So again, you're going to get the little shift and the insert. You're going to get the pull from the left guard. So much of this just screams run if you are the defense. And so it's a good design. And also, I wanted to mention too, because I've seen people knock the usage of Dalton Kincaid, especially early on last year under Dorsey, talking about his chip releases and him being attached to the line and just releasing it in the flats. I don't want that to be the only way that Dalton Kincaid is used, but these plays do work and they have value, especially if you consider the value of a chipper or a helper versus good edge players, especially early on for Kincaid, like against the Raiders with Max Crosby or against the Commanders when Chase Young was still there and Sweat and that whole cavalcade of dudes they had coming off the edge. But then also when pairing it with a good run game, it just creates these opportunities underneath. So again, we'll watch this H come in motion and insert there. We're going to get the pull on left guard and then watch Sam Laporta engage with Chase Young and then release out into the flat. Nice little design, simple, easy, all based off of, again, formation, personnel, alignment, pre-snap shifting, all this action, which kind of indicates here comes the run. There goes the pulling guard. You're going to see that flash of color if you're a defense and think, uh-oh, here comes the run. Not to mention you see this tight end bearing down, inserting between Laporta and the left tackle. And so you're thinking, okay, he's coming to fit up the safety. Here comes the run. You are watching the action of the running back in the backfield plus Jared Goff. And you're thinking, okay, here comes the run. Goff does a good job. Again, there's Laporta engaging Chase Young, sheds him, gets to the flat. Good timing, rhythm of all of it. Good design, good execution. I like that. This next one, you are going to get a 3-by-1 formation, but this is pretty wide right now. And the widest man to the field side is this tight end here. Same man who was our shifting insert player on the previous play. Watch how wide he is. But on the right before the snap, I should say, he starts to motion down, and you're going to get a condensed look, or more of a condensed look, because he's still in motion as the ball is snapped. What I like about this one is this is some creativity, like I highlighted. This is the creativity that you can build into the run scheme from a condensed standpoint. This ball is going to go to Jameson Williams here. This is going to be a reverse and a touchdown for the Buffalo Bills, Detroit Lions. Great. Stop calling the Lions the Rams. Now I called them the Bills. Oh, so this is, I think, some potential for Curtis Samuel here where, you shift into this type of look or you align, in this type of look. You don't necessarily have to motion or shift into it, but you can get creative and build off of your natural run game and throw in some trick plays or kind of gimmicky stuff into it as well. So again, you're going to get that shift to it into a condensed formation. What the Lions are going to do, similar to what we saw in the previous play where they pulled the left guard and inserted the H, they're going to pull the right guard on this play. You are going to make this look like a run. So from a post-snap movement perspective, the Lions are making this look like a regular run to our running back, but they're going to sneak Jameson Williams on the reverse from being that number one on the short side. And again, look where Jameson Williams is aligned. Condensed formation. This isn't a tell. If you're the defense, you're not seeing Jameson Williams here and being like, why is he so tight? Why is he in that nasty kind of split? Something's coming up here. Like, I don't like this. And everybody's talking and kind of cluing and keying in. But no, they're not doing that because the Detroit Lions have a low formational width on the year. This is the type of stuff they naturally live in. And they run and pass out of these condensed formations and out of these personnel groupings because why? The combination of condensed formations plus their personnel allows them to create mismatches in both the run and the pass because they have guys who can function as pass catchers and as run blockers. Boom. So here's the movement. Watch the right guard here. Here comes the pull. There goes the right guard. Defense is already keying in. Well, some of the defenses, I should say. Here we go. There's the movement. It's looking like a run. We even have the mesh in the backfield between Goff and Montgomery. Again, we've got the pulling guard, but it's actually a toss to Jameson Williams. Now, again, Jameson Williams is crazy fast, and he also does a good job of breaking tackles on this play as well. But this is something, if you're the Buffalo Bills, you can try and replicate this. with Curtis Samuel and how good he is with the ball in his hands. Dudes get caught. Also, what's nice about this play too. No. Watch the motion and the move. Watch how the action and the movement, what it does here to Fred Warner. So he's going to get sucked in with that run action a little bit, following that right guard, following David Montgomery, seeing the blocking scheme up front, and he's thinking, he's watching and trying to diagnose, and he gets caught, even again, just peeking, trying to process. And here comes Amon-Ra St. Brown, ready to pin him inside. Boom. Again, Warner kind of takes himself out of that play, but sorry, I'm horrible with the timing of the clicking. Oh my God, forget it. I'm just going to leave it here and go. Boom, here he goes. Again, Warner's kind of taking himself out as he's trying to diagnose. And as far as also, too, like, look at us trying to read this from the end zone angle, and we know what's happening. This is just a massive humanity inside. And we have it freeze frame. Like, you don't know what the hell is going on. You can't see anything. And then out of nowhere, here comes Jameson Williams with the ball. Fred Warner gets pinned inside by Amon-Ra St. Brown. You've got Frank Ragnow out in space on an apex defender. You've got Taylor Decker out in space on a DB. Dre Greenlaw almost makes the play, but JMO breaks the tackle. Tutty. Let it run from the other angle. Again, just some creative stuff. Not a tell because you're naturally running condensed formations. Nice little pieces here. Again, pull the guard, sell the run fake, mesh, boom. Good design, good time to call it, tendency breaker, however we want to label it, and then Jameson Williams just kind of being Jameson Williams. Now, here's another play. We're going to get condensed formation, 2x2 pre-snap, and then we're going to shift into a 3x1. I labeled it as attacking the perimeter. I talked about it earlier. I've talked about it multiple times throughout this episode of being in these condensed formations and running crack toss or running that outside zone toss, having physical receivers or tight ends, again, if you're an 11 or 12, but having those dudes that can pin edges down, fit on linebackers or apex defenders. And then if you have them back with that kind of speed, all of these things go into one another in terms of being able to attack the perimeter. And so that's where you're going to get on this play. I showed it with Houston, how you can attack the open space with routes post snap. You can do the same with the run game post snap, and we're going to show it on this one. Again, crack toss or that outside zone toss is a great play to run from a condensed bunch. What you're going to get on this play, similar to what we saw earlier, you're going to get Mr. Josh Reynolds on Nick Bosa. Tremendous block there. On that side, you are going to get Amon-Ra St. Brown on Lenore, similar to what we showed earlier. And then what's a nice one too, you are going to get Sam Laporta out in space on Shavarius Ward. Again, these players are tremendous for the Lions, but this is something that you can somewhat replicate if you are the Buffalo Bills. I think Gibbs is faster than Cook. Cook still has good speed. I think Laporta is a better blocker than Kincaid, but Kincaid can still get the job done as a blocker, and or Dawson Knox. Reynolds and Amon-Ra St. Brown are both good blockers, and Amon-Ra is just one of the best receivers in football, but you have enough dudes who can live, again, as run blockers or as pass catchers enough to be a threat combined with their frame and size and all that kind of stuff. Let's watch this play roll through. And what's nice about this is, like I mentioned, so it's a 2x2, but then you're going to get the shift from Laporta. All these little things that the Lions do, the shifts, the motion, all this kind of stuff, whether it's trying to get tells from the defense. And, Charles mentioned that too earlier in this episode of, not liking condensed formations because there's less, there's less IDing pre-snap for the quarterback. When you go spread, like we talked about, the defense kind of has to somewhat declare a little bit. You can kind of get more of an idea or picture of what they're going to do. So using condensed formations, but having these motions and having these shifts and kind of putting the defense on, their head at the last minute right before the snap, or just kind of seeing what they do before the snap, can be a nice little advantage. Okay. And again, this is similar to, again, misdirection and what the Lions are doing. I've showed it in 3 of these plays, right? This time we're going to get the pull from Penei Sewell. All this action. Get the shift, condensed formation, eye candy. Here comes Penei Sewell. He's pulling. Reynolds cracks down and pins Bosa. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown on Lenore. Laporta's bubbling out and is going to have a mismatch in terms of run blocking standpoint on Charvarius Ward. Again, open. Watch the footwork from Jared Goff. Opens and turns like this play is going to the left. And you even get the step too from Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Watch Gibbs in the backfield. Takes that initial step to the left, like his play is going left. Psych, puts his foot in the ground. So does Goff. You get a little left-handed pitch, and now we're out in the front. Whoop, makes one man miss, and we get a tutty from the Lions. The first several series in this game of just watching the Lions, it's wild still to think that they lost this game, and it's unfortunate for them. Again, here we go. End zone angle. Penei Sewell pulls. We get a climb from the guard. And again, the effectiveness of being able to attack that space. And I should talk about it more too. Like I mentioned, the Lions, again, have a tremendous offensive line. Like I haven't even named Glass now by name, but just like Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow and Taylor Decker, and they had Jackson last year, who is now with the Rams, ironically. But having Graham Glasgow and just what they're able to do from a movement standpoint, from a execution standpoint, physicality, zone, just everything. What they had last year, from Decker to Jonah Jackson to Frank Ragnow to Graham Glasgow, and then obviously Penei Sewell, just an absolute monstrous group on the offensive line. So again, let's watch this play. Boom, boom, boom. Here goes Penei Sewell. Glasgow's going out. Laporta's going out. Watch Reynolds crush Bosa. And then again, there's Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the best route runners and pass catchers in football, fitting up a nickel corner and pinning him. Boop. Oh, there goes Bosa. Here comes Amon-Ra St. Brown. And look at Fred Warner just kind of chilling, diagnosing, seeing what's going on, because he sees Penei Sewell pulling. He sees that initial footwork from Gibbs, but now he's pushing back out. So it's like, uh-oh. So again, all this little eye candy to take like some of the fastest players in the game, but even somebody like Fred Warner, who's one of the like fastest physically, but also one of the fastest mentally, one of the best processors and read and react players in football. You're just, everything you're doing with tendency based off of formation, personnel, alignment, all of these things, you're kind of causing defenders to second guess themselves a little bit. And look at this. Look at this from Amon-Ra St. Brown. Look at the fit. I know Lenore is still a nickel corner, right? But just look at the fit. Like, that is one of the best pass catchers and route runners in football. Look how committed and willing he is as a run blocker. Fits him up, keeps working. Look at that. Keeps working, drives him upfield. He's a non-factor. And then what do we get up here? Glasgow on Warner. Boom. And then look at Laporta outside on Charvarius Ward, driving him out. Literally just driving Charvarius Ward out of the picture. And then a good cut from Gibbs makes Tashawn Gibson miss. This tackle has to happen here. Obviously it doesn't, but oof, that's the speed of Gibbs. Watch one more time from the other end zone angle, just because I think this play is pretty and I like it. Last time to highlight everything. Watch Penei Sewell pull. Laporta lead out. Reynolds on Bosa. Amon-Ra St. Brown on Lenore. The footwork from Gibbs, the open, and the footwork from Goff. All of it, how it freezes defenders, creates leverage, creates angles, and creates seams for the running back to go through. Oh, so beautiful, so pretty. And now, not everything is always going to be more like perfectly blocked up. Sometimes you are going to have to make a man miss if you're a running back. We saw that with the Bills last year. But if you can get a running back on a safety or a corner, especially if you have a talented running back like the Lions do with Jahmyr Gibbs. But I think Gibbs is better than Cook, even though I really like James Cook. But Cook is still a threat against a corner or against a safety. The speed that he has, the moves that he has, and even some of the weight that he's put on, some physicality, he can break some tackles from some corners. So if you can create a situation where James Cook is out in space against a corner or a safety, you're going to take that. And that's the matchup you get right here, right? This is well designed for all the reasons we've talked about. This is well executed. Now it's on Jahmyr Gibbs to make a man miss, and he makes one man miss, and makes another man miss, and makes like another 3 miss. Still can't believe they lost this game. This next play, nothing crazy. So again, on that previous one, just attacking the perimeter with speed, formation, personnel, all that kind of stuff. This next one isn't anything crazy schematically. I just like what they do with Jahmyr Gibbs on this play. So you see Goff alerting, checking what's going on here. Spread formation this time from the Detroit Lions, not condensed. So you've got pretty good formational width. Ball is in the middle of the field, and the outermost receivers to each side, 2x2 formation, are both outside the numbers. So pretty good formational width, especially compared to what we've had before. This is 2nd and 7. You're getting middle of field open coverage. Jahmyr Gibbs is the number 3 to the top side. So again, everything is like numbered, not by player number, but by where they align in the formation, starting from the sideline and going in. So Jameson Williams is 1. Amon-Ra St. Brown is 2. Jahmyr Gibbs is 3. If Jahmyr Gibbs popped over here to the left of Jared Goff, he would still be the 3. Okay, so outermost receivers on each side are the 1s. The slot receivers on each side are the 2s because it's a 2x2 formation. And then whatever side Gibbs aligns to, he becomes the 3. If Josh Reynolds, this receiver over here, if he came in motion and aligned right next to the right tackle, he would become the 3. So Williams would stay the 1. Brown would be the 2. Reynolds would be the 3. Gibbs would be the 4. Okay, go to a little play here. Watch the route distribution, the alignment. So Fred Warner immediately reacts to the route distribution coming to the top of the screen. Basically what you get just based on the coverage. Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. Watch Gibbs just attack him with speed. He sees that. He knows it. Watch Gibbs attack the cushion and the space on Fred Warner. That speed is just nuts. Settle a little bit. Gives him, again, this is an incompletion, similar to the Dalton Schultz play we showed with the Texans, but I really like this usage. Again, I don't think Cook has this type of juice like Gibbs does. I don't know how many people do, especially at the running back position, but just you basically created a one-on-one situation. And Gibbs just blows right by him. Again, middle of the field, open coverage. I go back and forth in terms of what coverage it was. Like, you're always trying, if it's cover 4 or cover 2, it's really like defined by the safety width up top and then the designated flat players. Just based on the safety width, it's also tough too because they're in the low red zone. So like if the corners are dropping really deep, even if they're cover 2 corners, they can be sinking, so they're not just covering grass. But based on everything here, based on where the safeties are, like almost getting to the numbers on each side, it looks like cover 2. And then kind of Fred Warner almost being responsible for that middle third type piece. Either way, however you slice it, Warner is responsible for number 3 to that side, which is Jahmyr Gibbs. He gets into a one-on-one situation, and Gibbs can eat. And I love Fred Warner. Cook could have success on this type of route too, right? Oof. There's a speed, little hesitation, stutter step, goes around him. Give me some of that for James Cook. And again, Joe Brady is a very good schematic designer for getting running backs involved as pass catchers. So I hope he watches that and takes it. Next one. Again, just another Sam Laporta usage that I like from the Detroit Lions. Not spread, not condensed initially on this look coming out of the huddle. This one's really cool from a schematic perspective and kind of flipping things on the head for the defense. So they are in spread out of the huddle. They are in 21 personnel. In the backfield is a fullback, a true fullback. It's Kabinga. So he's a big, heavy hitter. He's in that like Jakob Johnson type mold in terms of true run-fitting fullbacks. Pat Ricard, even though he's used really like as a tight end, but he's technically a fullback. Big, thumping type of fullback, right? 2x2, gun formation. Again, very wide formational width. Ball is on the right hash, but the outermost receivers on each side are outside the numbers. Again, 21 personnel. You are going to go from this. This is really awesome. 2x2. Again, nothing crazy. This isn't like out of this world or like unheard of, but now you're going to freeze on me. Oh, how dare you? Think I won't just reload things? Psych. Bang, we're back. Okay. So again, we're in that spread look, 21 personnel. Watch the shift. Goff calls everybody in. We go from a spread look to a condensed offset I formation in 21 personnel. And you're getting that personnel grouping. You've got 21 personnel. The Niners have matched with 3 linebackers. You've got Burks, Warner, and Dre Greenlaw. Now, that nice little shift was nice. You got the personnel. You're in a spread formation. You shift. Now you've shifted to a condensed formation and a true power-looking formation in an offset I. Then, again, and this is all with a true fullback, not like a Kyle Juszczyk type of fullback. This is a true hammer, run the ball, run right at you type of fullback. This looks like a counter run from the Lions on the snap. Look at the left guard, Jonah Jackson. Again, I'll go back just in case. We get the shift. Here it comes. Watch the left guard pull. Watch the fullback step up and follow him. They make this look like a GF counter. So you are pulling the left guard and then the fullback is coming behind him. Also, watch David Montgomery's footwork in the backfield. Steps to that side. And then what does he do? Comes back. Counter footwork all day. What's Sam Laporta doing up top? He's engaging with Bosa. Straight up engaging with Bosa. So you've got the shift to a condensed formation in an offset I with a true fullback. You're pulling the left guard. The fullback's going behind him. You've got the footwork from the running back. And then you've got Sam Laporta engaging the edge. All looks like run. It's like, I'm going to release and go to the flat, and Sam Laporta's wide open. Real nice. End zone angle also does a good job here showing what Sam Laporta is doing. So I've already got it into the shift. Watch Sam Laporta's eyes. So he engages with Bosa, but he's watching for Gibson. I'm sorry. So it wasn't Burks. He's watching for Gibson there. He's watching for the safety. As soon as he sees Gibson come down and honor the run, he's already seen him coming down here. His eyes are on Gibson. He releases, he lets go of Bosa, releases, and then has the angle. And if this were the olden days in football, Gibson is getting absolutely lit up right here. And Laporta's probably gaining another couple of yards. But Gibson is getting lit up, and that's old school football. Again, let's look at the action from this angle. Jonah Jackson, pull. You get the step from Kabinga, follows Jackson. You've got the footwork from Montgomery. Everything is making this look like a guard fullback counter. Boom. If you're the defense, and look at the reaction. Look at Gibson to Burks to Warner to Greenlaw. All of it. This looks like counter. If you're reading the flashes, it looks like Jackson is going to kick out the edge. Kabinga is going to lead through the hole. That's what this looks like. And it's not. It's play action. And again, not this crazy downfield route. Huge average depth of target. Just a nice, 15, 16-yard gain on a little leak play. More leak plays for Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox from this Bills offense, whether it's like the typical leak where they're dragging and coming over the middle, or you want to create the bigger explosives with it. Give me more leak concepts and sneaky plays with Kincaid and Dawson Knox for the Buffalo Bills. Saw a lot of comments coming through. Oh, Justin says Jameson Williams have a breakout year next year. Could happen. Joe says Josh's ball faking in. Oh, the overlay's not on there. It's driving me nuts. Joe says Josh's ball faking will be so nice in any RPOs that you're running out of condensed sets. There's a lot of things that can happen. Oh, I appreciate this comment, Justin. Justin says the way you break down film is second to none. I've learned a lot tonight. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Comment here from John who says, let's just hire Johnson then. So this is, I think Ben Johnson's a good offensive mind. The Lions offense is much different than the Bills offense. So, and a lot of it is tied to just what Jared Goff is. And I don't mean this disrespectfully. Jared Goff is just nowhere near the athlete that Josh Allen is. So everything that the Lions do is on time, is in rhythm, is schemed, is designed. Jared Goff is very good in terms of ball placement, protecting his guys, throwing some guys open, throwing to back shoulders to protect them against safeties coming down. Everything is footwork, rhythm, timing, eyes, mechanics. It is an offense that is very much an on script, on time, on schedule kind of offense. Josh Allen is not that type of quarterback. Not that he necessarily can't be, but that's really not what we've seen him be. He is not this ultra processor, ultra on time rhythm quarterback. He is a mutant at the quarterback position. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's got a cannon for an arm. He does some crazy things. He's Professor Chaos, like Nate Tice likes to say. Like, he is a lot of things, some of them jokey, some of them serious. He can be labeled in a variety of ways, but he is not this on time, rhythmic, mechanically sound quarterback. Hopefully his mechanics get better this year. And in order to execute a lot of the stuff we showed tonight, he needs to be better from an on time and rhythm standpoint. But the Ben Johnson offense right now and how we've seen it be very successful with the Lions is all based on rhythm, timing, sequencing, everybody being where they need to be, when they need to be there, from the quarterback to the pass catchers to the line. I think that would be some of, it would be a transition, I think, for Johnson working with Allen and or Allen stepping into Johnson's offense. Like, one of them is going to have a significant change. Either say Ben Johnson was the Bills head coach or offensive coordinator or whatever, depending on how you view Sean McDermott. He's either going to have to change a lot to meet Josh Allen, or Josh Allen's going to have to change a lot to meet Ben Johnson. And based on who Josh Allen is and where he is, it's probably going to be Johnson having to adjust to meet with Allen. And not that that can't work, but it's not necessarily this like for like, man, what a match made in heaven. This is absolutely perfect type of thing. So I'm not saying it can't work, but part of my thought, or even just seeing like last year, all the comments last year was like, man, how come the Bills don't run this like the Lions do? And how come the Bills don't do this and do that? Some of that is because of Josh Allen, because he doesn't function the same way that Jared Goff does. And you could view that positively, you could view that negatively, but there's a reason that the offenses are schematically different in terms of how they function and operate. And a lot of that is just due to the man, pulling the trigger there at the quarterback position. I was not expecting this episode to go this long. I kind of got lost in the film in a good way that I really enjoyed. I hope you folks enjoyed it too. Throwing up the banner that says Toodles, folks. If you have not already, please, and thank you, drop a like on this video. Like I said, likes are the lifeblood of these streams. They go a sincerely long way towards helping myself and the entire team to track and trend in front of more eyes. So if you have not already dropped a like on this video, please, if you would be so kind, please do so. Apparently 2 people didn't like these film breakdowns, and I got 2 downvotes, which is really disappointing and upsetting. So if you have not already, please, and thank you, drop a like on this video. If you're listening on one of the podcasting apps or platforms, that's cool as well. Please rate and review and subscribe to Disguised Coverage. I hope I narrated everything enough for you in this film-based episode, if you are an audio-only person, to kind of put everything together visually for you through an auditory medium. If not, feel free to check the episode out on YouTube and kind of see some of the things that I was talking about and going through there. Please turn on notifications for the Disguised Coverage playlist here on YouTube and subscribe to the Cover One channel. We have you covered literally every single day of the week with a variety of coverage, variety of layers, depending on what your type or level of analysis is. We've got you covered. Major thank you to all you folks who joined me live here on this episode. I know we're in the slow doldrums of the season. So thank you to everyone who tuned in live. Thank you very much to Mr. Joe DeRosa and sticking around after his show. If you folks don't know, Joe hosts the Under Review show live every Tuesday at 7:30. So go check that show out right now if you have not checked it out already. So major thank you to everyone who joined me live on this episode. If you didn't watch live, whether you're watching post live, listening, downloading, whatever have you, whatever form or fashion your support comes in, I am greatly appreciative of it and greatly thankful for it. Tell your family and friends and loved ones about how awesome this show is. If you did not think this show was awesome, tell your enemies about the show and try and ruin their day by making them watch it. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night. Enjoy the rest of your week, especially if you live in Buffalo or Western New York. It's supposed to be beautiful for the entire rest of the week for the most part. So enjoy yourself, have some fun outside. Thank you very much to everybody for the nice comments and nice words. I like the comment there from Garn who says Rams and Lions fans downvoting maybe. Yeah, like 2 Rams or Lions fans got pissed because I kept calling the Lions the Rams. That's fair. Joe, you have to change your show to Under Souffle. And I was only half kidding. I'm like 70% serious that you need to do a show where you live make a souffle while talking about the Buffalo Bills. I will be your guest on that show if it increases the odds of you doing it. So we'll see what happens. Appreciate you folks. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night. Like, subscribe, leave reviews, tell your family and friends, the loved ones, all that kind of stuff. No Cover One Film Room tomorrow night with myself and Eric Turner. We will see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. 5 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, here on Disguised Coverage, I'll see you next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Until then, Godspeed. I hope you and your family and friends and loved ones are all doing well and staying safe. Be kind to one another. Take care of one another. I appreciate all the kind words that came through for myself through the majority of the show. I don't want to bring up too many more now because I seem corny, but I see them. I appreciate them. I always just feel corny bringing up nice stuff about myself, especially when I'm solo. It's weird. I'm talking too much. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Thank you very much to everyone. I appreciate you. I'll see you next week. And as always, go Bills.